need to try to wrap up 14, 6, and 7 today, but the last homework that you guys will probably have, I'll just probably title it either like 14, 5, 6, 7 or 14, 5, 6, like whatever the name of it shows up, just do it. Like, so it might just be named 14, 5, 6, 7, or the last chapter 14 homework, or I don't know. I haven't finished tweaking it yet. Remember, this is my first year fully digital. So, on the homework? On the test? No, you need to know what kind of sampling is what type. So, so let's review. How do we, so if you look at a group of people, what's the whole group called? Okay, yeah, we'll just go class answers on these. When you look at one of those people or things, subject, when you look at a group, how do I choose my group when I use an interval? What's that called? Systematic has an interval. What about when I make it super easy on myself? And when I mix them all up in a hat and I just draw them? Those are our sampling methods. We now need to compare which is better in which situation. So, the town mayor is deciding, and this is actually a decision that I get quite aggravated by, that at least in my neighborhood, my trash bin is green and my recycling is blue. I don't know when blue became a color to represent recycling, but like it used to be green. You'd be called Go Green, like recycle, be green, and now all of a sudden it's blue. So the mayor decides to take a poll, do a survey, and he wants to ask people, we can choose red, green, or blue for our recycling bins in town hall. So should he use convenience, systematic, or simple random? What do you think and why? So write on your paper, take a moment, short answer response, actually write like in sentence form what you would suggest to him and why. There's not a right or wrong answer here. It all comes down to how you support your answer. It all comes down to how you support your answer. What do you mean? Supporting your answer?
Yeah, I don't like
Just why? Just why would you make the choice you made? That's all it is. Or again, there's not right, wrong. There's better, easier, but there's not right, wrong. So, if you have proper justification, there's not really a way that you can get this wrong. I can argue that there would be an easier way, but it's not like he's going to get a wrong answer. You know what I mean? He's asking people color of recycling bin. It is March 1st. It is 3-1. Nice. 30 days in September, number 31. Yes, remind me tomorrow, please. Is it 7 or 7:30? 7:30. 7:30. Jeremiah, Mr. Home, what did you say?
I did not say anything. I was actually writing notes.
Okay. Mr. Williams, what did you say?
I thought systematic because of like intervals. You could just, it's pretty easy. Just stop by every 5 people you see. It makes it kind of convenient because it's there at the same time.
Yeah.
They
So,
were there.
Colin said he's going to stand at the door in the hallway or somewhere and ask every 5th person until he gets enough people that he thinks the sample's big enough. Now, he could be creepy and stand at the bathroom door and ask people.
Okay, that's
But no, so what I'm going to ask you, though, is, and I bring that up because you have to talk about how you do your systematic sampling. You can't just say, choose every 5th person. Well, every 5th person, how? Is it every 5th person putting something in the recycling?
I have to say where it started.
Yeah, so is it at the front door of City Hall? So if you're going to do systematic, how are you doing it? And again, there's not like a wrong answer. Like, you could be kind of creepy and stand at the bathroom door. That would still get you a sample. So there's not a wrong way. You just need to specify how. Andrew, what'd you say?
and then every answer, every answer you get a bunch of people and then you choose kind of like a population.
So you only ask the question to the people in your sample. So you choose your sample before you ask the question. See, you just kind of said that you get a bunch of answers and then you would choose your people. Okay, so again, you would need to know how. So do I make a list of employees and systematically choose that way? Do I stand somewhere, systematically choose that way? You got to specify how. Okay, does that make sense? Dom, what do you think?
I said something random, and like you should just take any of your old town, city, wherever you're thinking, and you can get opinions on all of them.
Okay. Jaslyn, we'll go one more card. Jaslyn, what did you say?
I also said simple random because it would most likely be unbiased, and I think you should give like every worker that like every city hall worker a number, and then like choose at like pick numbers at random, and then choose those people.
I love your method. If I was asking an important question. So for everybody, think about the method that you wrote down. How important of a decision is this?
Pretty important.
Not really. It's the color of the trash can. Jeremiah?
I chose convenience. I choose everyone that was it's not really a big deal. And they're most likely going to have the ideas that everybody else does.
Does it matter if your opinions that you get in your sample are biased?
No.
We're talking colors of trash cans or recycle bins to be more specific. But guys, the easiest thing to do here, the most efficient way to do this is convenience. So not that this is the right answer, but it's the most efficient answer because this isn't that important. This is not very important. I mean, there's red plastic. You can get red things. So here's a reminder. So hold on, I'm gonna go steal my lamp back, especially since it's blocked over here. Here's a reminder of when we use each type and why. So then check out the example and decide which sampling methods would you use there. So it's literally cold over in Golden Gym. Yeah, you just wait. So in the next 20 minutes, and then I'm going to email this video to Mr. Shirt and show him that we tricked the thermostat and that we need a new system. Alright, so we're going to intense heat this thing up. It's right here, it's just plastic. That's the thermostat.
Is it already?
No, so it's my lamp wasn't there, so it was just the temperature of the room. I'm now going to make it think that my room is super hot, so it will cool it down. Well, I'm about to be swimming, so. Alright, so reminders, convenience. Convenience is really easy. When you don't have all the population available, take who is available. Take who's easy there, ready to answer your question right now. If I don't have time or resources, or if I don't care enough, quite frankly, if I don't have time or resources, I probably don't care that much because I haven't allocated the time and resources necessary. The members available are representative of the population, so if I know that the group I'm looking at that's right in front of me that is convenient, if I know that they're representative of the population, I can just take them. Then that's valid. Systematic. If my whole population is available, say I stand at the front door to the school, they're streaming past me, it's nice and easy. And there's no pattern to the arrangement of people. As you guys walk in the building, you're not arranged in any specific way. If I talk to every fifth of you, I would get a good assortment of people. Simple random, best when you have everyone available, so you can ask everyone, they can answer you. Excuse me, and your characteristics aren't necessarily known. So you assume you have a mixed population. You don't know anything specific about pockets or anything else like that. Do you need a couple more minutes to answer the example? Which one you would choose?
Yeah.
I'll give you like one more minute.
Just be careful as you get into college and things. I've seen people have it way too much, and then it's not effective because you want to trigger certain words. Yeah, that's the main heat vent for this room.
And then any flat vents, like the one in the hallway, those are return vents. So I don't have a return vent in here, which is also part. No, I do right there. So pumps in there, takes it out from there. So, Moon, if you survey every 5th student who enters the music room, what is that? That is a system of choosing them. And they're streaming past you because they're entering the music room. Mona, so what about you survey the students in the school whose names are picked out of a hat? That is simple random. Survey the students in the homeroom closest to the music room. I think they're assuming that you're a music student. Ashley? That is convenient because you are in the music room. You just walk to that next homeroom and you say, hey guys, I got a question. Survey all the students in the next band practice, Anish. Yeah, if you just hang out in the band room, wait for them to all show up. Hey guys, I got a question. That's convenient. And survey every 10th student who enters the cafeteria. Whit is not here. Mr. Smith. That is a system as well. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Wunderbar. Wonderful in German. Alright, take a second for the got it. What does each of these describe? I'm probably only going to give you like 30 seconds because you guys are getting pretty quick at this. Did I give you 14.7 yet?
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. By the way, guys, here's chapter 15. Here's chapter 16. Like, we're ready to roll. So I think we might distribute all of the notes at the beginning of the chapter just so you have them all to be effective. And then if you're curious, I know some people are getting more curious as we do the probability type things, and you might actually look ahead in your notes and gain some interest in what we have yet to do, which is really cool, which is also why I'm mad that we don't have a textbook. Textbooks let you explore and kind of like investigate. We are probably going back to having textbooks. I'm not on that panel. I actually said no to that other commitment because I'm overcommitted. But I think either next year or the year after, you guys will probably have actual textbooks. So, Andrew, if you survey every 8th customer waiting in line for the roller coaster, is this going to produce a representative sample? So what we're asking is not only, and actually we should have answered that up here as well. So actually, before we move on, we know what sample types it is, but let's talk about bias. So some things inherently have bias, and other things we hope that it kind of pushes out the bias. The question that we were asking was, can you play a musical instrument? That would be a great question if you're surveying students in your school. If I survey every 5th student who enters the music room, then Andrew, do you think that has a bias? Why? What's my question? Yeah, I'm asking about music. I'm in the music room. Does this have bias? That's kind of a dumb question. So yes, of course this one does. If I survey students in the school cafeteria, not the cafeteria yet, just students who I picked out of a hat, Elena, does that have bias in it?
No.
No, that's going to represent the entire school population. I picked them randomly. Sam, what about if I survey the students in a home room closest to the music room? No. Yeah, the only way it could was if for some reason that home room had more music kids in it, but they don't choose home rooms based on musical ability. Like, that wouldn't make sense. That's like our foundations would be. You guys are just mixed up. Actually, it's chunks of the alphabet, but it's not based on musical ability. Like, question or answer?
It's a question.
Okay.
For the audit, wouldn't it really not bias because it wants to represent?
It wants no bias. To be representative. Well, so it should only have bias if the school population has bias. So your sample should represent the school. If it's a music school, and there's a musical bias to the entire school, your sample should have a musical bias. If it's just a general school with no necessary music bias, your sample should not necessarily have a musical bias. Does that make sense? It's going to match whatever the population is. So if I survey all the students in the next band practice, Ozzy, do you think that's fair?
I think it's not fair.
Yeah, it's not fair. It's in the band practice. Do you play an instrument? Well, I hope you do if you're in band. Survey every 10th student in the cafeteria. Sean, is there bias for music in the cafeteria? And unless, and this is when if you extend your answers on the test, like, there's not right, wrong, it all depends on how you support it, unless that lunch was band specific. Like, if it was all the band kids, then go to lunch. But we don't know any information like that, so we assume it's just general mixed
But
population.
that could work here either because it's every 10 students.
What do you mean?
So if
Yeah, but if that group coming, say there's 100 kids coming down the hallway to lunch,
yeah.
and they just got released from band practice, that would then give it bias, but we don't know anything like that. But every year I get kids that say, but, what if, and I like to kind of just, yeah, it's the but what if. It's like the wait, but why. Alright, so that's what you're answering on the got it. What is it, and is there bias? So what's the type, what's the method, and is there bias? Huh?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm just going to do it like this.
And also ask students who are
So, is it representative is the same thing as asking, is it biased, except we're flipping the question around. So, a representative sample should not have a bias, like, compared to the population. So, if we assume our population's mixed, we're assuming our school mixed population, we assume there's no inherent bias. So, suppose workers at the amusement park want to find out how many customers like to ride the roller coaster. So the population is who? Yeah, the customers. So population is customers. My question is like the coaster. So I might be at the amusement park, but I'm there for Snoopy World. I'm not there to ride the Raptor. So all because you're at the amusement park doesn't mean you like roller coasters. Do we have questions? I'm using cards.
I have a question.
Yeah, question.
Well, it's like sec B for that one is confusing because it doesn't say like how you're gonna survey them. So it doesn't say like where you are.
So the question's asking. Well, so we'll get there. So A, Ellie, if you survey every 8th customer waiting in line for the coaster, what type of method is that?
That would be static.
That is a system. Now, is that going to carry any bias towards the roller coaster?
Very.
Yeah!
A lot.
I'm going to put very, I like that.
Very.
If you're waiting in line for the coaster, we assume you like it. Especially because you're waiting in line, not just riding it. Like, I might not like the blue streak, but I'll ride it if there's no line. But if I'm waiting in line, I probably like that ride. If I survey the customers at the food court, now it does not tell me how I survey them. So, should the population at the food court be mixed?
Yeah.
Did I choose them in a system? Did I have a method of giving them numbers, and so if they're at the food court and I'm surveying them, that's convenient because I'm there with them. They're available to me. This is convenient. Will the food court, Julian, have a bias towards the roller coaster? Shouldn't. We would hope not. Unless like the roller coaster just opened that day and then maybe no one, like everyone's in line. But nah, it's the food court. It should not have roller coaster biases. Okay, you're fine. It's in line for the roller coaster. And Mr. Long, you gotta give me both the method and if there's bias so that I have time to shuffle. Yeah, every 12th is gonna be systematic. And if it's entering the park, then yeah, you're not going to have bias necessarily because you're just at the park. You might be there for the water slides or the bumper carts or whatever, not the roller coaster. So in 8th grade, you guys go down to Kings Island in the spring. I don't think it's free, but it's discounted. Like it's way cheaper than it would be if you went on the spring. And they take a charter bus, like one of those really fancy buses. 8th grade. So like we go to Chicago, 7th grade goes to Chicago or Columbus. 8th grade spring trip is Kings Island. And in the past they've done the museum down there. And a couple other things. No, it's the whole 8th grade. Unless you choose not to go. So, I'm now going to do some data, or collect some data. Do some data. I'm going to collect some data on a new neighborhood. So if you've ever driven through one of those like MI or Dominion neighborhoods or something, you might start to notice some of these houses look the same. So suppose you're a city developer and you want to determine how many of each model of home, a lot of times they are actually identical, there are in certain neighborhoods of 200 houses. Plus. Describe how you would choose a sample. So how are we going to choose it? Of 20 houses, so it tells me my sample size. Great. Using either systematic or simple random. Justify why. So if I know my neighborhood has 200 houses, and I need a sample of 20, and I decide to go simple random. Sorry, systematic. Let's talk about systematic. Colin, how am I going to choose my interval? If I do a systematic, part of that is choosing an interval.
So it says, choose a sample of 20 houses, so it would be, intervals.
So we have to choose how, like every 5th or 6th or 7th. Like, how'd you find that out?
Because 20 times 10 is 200 divided by 20 is 10.
We do population over sample size. So we're doing 200 over the 20 that we want, and we get that our interval has to be every 10th house. So this neighborhood's much bigger. This is just a snapshot of the neighborhood. So red is home A, blue is home C, orange is home B. There's 3 styles in this neighborhood. So if I go every 10th, let's start with like the second house. So if I choose this guy, and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I'll choose this guy. I mean, we can see it, right? Like we. So what do you mean it doesn't count to the 20? We don't have our sample yet. Our sample's going to be 20 after I choose them. We know the population of 200. There are actually 200 houses in this neighborhood. We're looking at a little snapshot. This is not our sample. This is just like rows of houses. So we're looking at how should we do this. So if I do systematic, then I've chosen this second house. I go 10, I choose this house. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I would choose this house. And then I could either start over or continue on, but right now, what do you see about how my sample is starting out? There's no red and 2 blue. So that seems to have bias. So we could say the systematic seems biased. We could, so that could help us. But one way that we mathematically assume that we get rid of bias, or as much as possible, is do things randomly. So when you drive through those neighborhoods, and this is something you maybe never noticed, red, orange, blue, red, blue. 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 They're in a pattern already. Can we use systematic if my data's ordered in a pattern? No. So there's a pattern here, which means we can't use systematic. You guys like making a rap or something? I saw you starting to be red, orange, blue, red, blue. So let's talk then, how would we do simple random? So Ashley, if you wanted to do simple random in this neighborhood, now it's a neighborhood. So what do neighborhoods also have? Like when you go to your neighborhood, what do all the houses have?
Doors.
Ashley, she's the smart one. Numbers! Thank you! Of course they have doors!
They don't have doors.
Or maybe your neighbors really trust each other and they all took their doors off. Okay, so Ashley, thank you. They all already have numbers. Your neighborhood has numbers. So Ashley, how could we get a simple random sample in my neighborhood?
Just write all the numbers and then just pull out randomly.
Yeah, we could write them all down and rip it up and put each number on a slip of paper, mix them up and pull them out. Or in your random number generator programs, you start with a minimum and a maximum. So you would make the first house in the neighborhood, or the lowest number, the minimum number. The last house in the neighborhood would be the maximum number. Set that as your range in the number generator and just generate numbers with the computer. That's a fast-through method, but put them in a hat, mix them up, draw them out. That works just as well. The doors don't matter. We're not talking about doors. Alright, does that make sense? Do we need to write out that you just assign numbers, randomly choose numbers, survey those people? So your houses already have numbers. Alright, there are 2,480 cars traveling on a highway on a given day. We have collected that much data. We choose a sample of 100 cars. Should we choose systematic or simple random if we want to determine how many cars exceed the speed limit? Should we use systematic or simple random? So think through how we do each of these. Let's say you go out to Linworth or whatever road goes over 270, and you're going to stand there and collect data. You got a speed gun. You borrowed one from Officer Stanko. You remind your parents there's forum tonight. I know it's kind of fun, but there's Officer Stanko and Dr. Don Taylor are coming in to present digital safety presentation. It's actually really good information to remind your parents PTSA and parent forum are tonight. So you borrow a speed gun. Noah, if you were going to do this simple random, how would you do that with cars on the highway?
Just take it random, so randomly check the speed of one of the cars that many times.
So remember our process for simple random, and that I set you up for an awkward question, so my apologies. Simple random, we assign numbers. Then we randomly choose numbers. Then we survey those numbers chosen. Does that work with cars driving past you? No, because I'm going to be like, okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And then I choose number 5. Oh, he's gone. Like, you can't do that when the data is passing you. You can only do that when you have the data available to you, like a phone book or things like that. Cars going by you, that won't work. So, how, though, could we do a systematic sample of cars driving under us? Still, you know, this one's easier to answer. Sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, clock it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, clock it. Then you're good. You just start collecting your data. And really, at that point, choose whatever interval's easy for you. You've got an unlimited supply of data. Really, you're going to have cars all day long. So, if an interval of 5 was too small, like too quick, do an interval of 10 or an interval of 15. Or maybe your interval is every, depending on how traffic is going by, this gets a little loose with survey techniques, but you could have your interval be every 30 seconds. Let's clock a car. Because it's still, that would more be like random systematic in a way, because you won't have a solid interval, but that solid interval doesn't matter, because you're just trying to choose cars and see are they speeding. So the big thing to put here is that simple random won't work. It just can't work. You can't assign numbers, choose them, and then go back and ask them, oh, did you speed? You need to collect that data as it's happening.
Yeah. You're gonna lie to
So, guilty pleasure. I was watching Cops the other night, and I forget what they were doing, but this cop was like, no, man, just be honest with me. Like, you're not in trouble. And then the dude, he was like on something. But he like rattled off all this stuff to the cop, and then like these drugs fell out of his pocket or something. And the cop was like, okay, now you are in trouble. Like, it went from just talk with me to like, okay, now I have to arrest you. It's kind of funny. I mean, he was out there, man. He was on something.
Were you saying like something that was he saying something good or something bad?
Didn't make sense. He was like rambling. He was like crazy. So, you are a toy inspector. This sounds more fun than some of the jobs we've talked about. You're inspecting toys. Describe how you would choose a sample of at least 75 toys from the production on the conveyor belt line. So, conveyor belt. What is it like, and some of you guys may not know which ones, but what does a conveyor belt do? If you're a worker on a conveyor belt, if you're going to the Honda plant, you'll see some things like this. Jeremiah. Yeah, that's a really short conveyor belt, though. But so, what does it do?
It puts the food here to here, slide again.
So it transfers items down the line, right? So you have a stream of data. So off to the side of conveyor belt, please write. I need a pen. Please write stream of data, because that's the thing that we want to identify here. So we're going to use which method because I have a stream of data.
You know, systematic because again in simple random you need to like number each of it and then only test.
Yeah, so we're going to use systematic with data moving. My data is actively moving down the conveyor belt, so I can stand here and easily let the data pass by me. Whoop, gonna pick you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, but now we need to know our interval. So we need to determine our interval. Now this says at least 75. So we could choose more. You have to decide your sample size. I don't care what size you make your sample. So take a moment, choose what size you make your sample to have at least 75, and then determine what your interval is. So you should only need about a minute to do this. No, because then you would not get a sample, you would get the population. Your sample has to be smaller than the population. So you could choose every other. That would give you a very large sample. But you could do every other. Yeah, the A didn't really. Sorry, the A just kind of became this little tail because I was writing really fast.
Isn't choose every dash toy the same?
Yeah, but I'm gonna write the work up here.
Oh.
So, Ozzy, how big of a sample did you decide to take? Okay. So, yeah, you did. I love that you said I didn't really take a sample, but you did. So, what'd you get when you divided that? So, you get 8. So, that actually tells you we're going to choose every 8th toy and get a sample of 75. Well, so you found your interval. Now, if we wanted to get a bigger sample, what needs to happen to our interval? It gets smaller. So, instead of an interval of 8, I could do an interval of 7. I'll get a bigger sample. If I do an interval of 6, how big would my sample be? 100, right? So, I could have made this real easy. Just said if I choose every 6, I'll get a sample of 100. Last thing to do, again, it's okay that we're not moving as fast as I thought, because we'll just take your mastery on Friday, and it'll all be good. So, my computer's getting all weird. So, check out the final question down there. Check out the final question down there.
What's double jointed?
Means that your joints can bend backwards. So, like, hitchhiker's thumb is kind of like being double jointed.
Like this.
There's a lot of thumb stop there. My sister's elbow can actually bend backwards a little bit. Yeah. So if you could like put your arm on a table and instead of like you could bend it that far but backwards, that would be like double jointed. But like I can't. My arms aren't double jointed, but my thumbs are. But this is a genetic trait for hitchhiker's thumb. That's a genetic thing. All right. So Sam, if there are 400 students in our school, what is that? That's our population. We want to choose a sample of 20 using either convenience or systematic. You're asking how you're double jointed. So which do you think you would choose, convenience or systematic? Hey, notice how I started the whole statement with Sam. Either can be right. So it's all how you justify. Okay, why are you choosing systematic, and how are you going to do it?
So how I would do it is I would well, now I think about it, convenience.
So wait, what did you say about convenience?
Convenience would be the best because it's just people around you.
So if I choose 20 people in here, is there a bias for your double jointedness?
No.
I didn't make classes based on who's double jointed. So if you just take a convenient sample, I don't have to think about my interval. Convenience could easily give me a mixed result.
There's not even 20 people in this classroom.
I know. Sorry, somebody asked another question. You could use systematic. That would be totally fine. It would just be a bit harder. So, convenience is more efficient, but systematic would totally work. Like, that'd be fine. Cool? So, here's the deal. Today's Wednesday, so tomorrow we will need to wrap up 14.7. Today will be the last new homework for the chapter. So tomorrow we'll wrap up 14.7 and take any questions from the homework. Your mastery will be on Friday. I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Oh, I have papers to hand back. So your Phoebe, Jeremiah Home, Colin, Jaslyn, Jeremiah Smith, Moon, or Ellie, I have papers for you.